You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
There's obviously a lot of big world news breaking. We're going to cover it all. We have the reports right here. Iran nuclear deal. Saudi Arabia warns it will strike on its own, even without Israel. London Telegraph and brags they've secured nuclear weapons from Pakistan. And, of course, that's not going to go too well because you just watch if this happens. The reason the Joint Chiefs have not allowed, and they're not in command, they've just threatened to quit. If Obama tries to launch an attack on Iran, because the word is, right around the time the last year of Bush's administration, 6.5, 7 years ago, they were completing atomic weapons and warheads, and then have now completed being able to put them on top of medium-range missiles that can hit Israel, obviously. And you want to gamble that the Iron Dome weapon anti-missile system will be able to stop them? Probably won't be able to stop them. So I'm going to just keep announcing that. You only hear it here, and if you don't believe me, that's fine. I told you Saudi Arabia had nuclear weapons. I mean, South Africa had them, and it came out later. There's many more countries have them. And, of course, India and Pakistan are the big issue. If a nuclear war starts, it's probably going to be there. That's what most analysts say. They've had a couple wars with each other over the disputed Kashmir region, and they absolutely hate each other. You see, folks, people think the Muslims hate America, and on average they don't. They want to move here and be in a freer culture, but while still keeping their non-radical Muslim values. And many of them are great people. But you do have the radical Islam that the globalists have been funding, supporting, and putting in charge, because they don't want truly progressive, I don't mean globalist, New World Order, socialist progressive, but truly progressive societies in the Middle East. They want backwards controlled areas run by basically Bedouins that British intelligence hired in 1903 that pretty much run the whole region now. And that's what the House of Saud is. And the Muslims hate each other more than anybody else. And the Indians and Pakistans hate each other. The Hindus and the Muslims. There's a lot of groups in India, but it's the Hindus and the Muslims that are really, if you study the cultural battles, that's the big issue. That's how it is in Africa. One African tribe will hate the other African tribe right across the river. The animists will hate the Christians will hate the Muslims will hate the Christians. And people will find a reason to go rob and kill somebody. So we call it racism, and people nowadays think the only form of discrimination or abuse is racism. Racism is just a modern term for tribalism between different ethnic groups. But historically, it'd be groups of Romans before they unified what is Italy today, killing each other in hundreds of years of war, before the city of Rome ended up first conquering what is Italy. Before that, it was known as just the land of the Romans. It hadn't been known as Italy until the last 1,000 years or so. And those guys over the hill, they're bad, we're going to kill them. Exact same genetic group. And that's what's so frustrating. We've been colonized by foreign offshore megabanks who are literally waging war against the human condition and trying to dumb us down in Europe and the U.S. and in Australia, teaching in globalist standardized tests that 2 + 2 = 5, 5 + 5 = 12, literally. Brown bags and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist. So you're all just seeing all this stuff to fight about everywhere and obsessed with what color you are or what religion, instead of all of us going under a scientific dumbing down takeover. So you say, well, that's ridiculous saying peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist, and don't ask for them on the school menu because it hurts Hispanic children's feelings. That's meant to get the Hispanics going, yeah, I am offended by a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So we're all fighting with each other when we would all just really be getting along. It was Christians and good people who came together to end the last 500 years of ethnic slavery. Because 500 years ago, there were big struggles in Europe predominantly, whites who did not want to be slaves anymore to other whites. They called it feudalism. So as feudalism fell out in the last 500 years, they said, okay, well, we've got to turn somewhere else. We'll just literally send our ships to the western coast of Africa, grab people, and take them to slave plantations all over the Caribbean to produce sugarcane to make rum to ship back to Europe. And there were big fights and cities burned down in Europe. If you go back 500, 400, 300 years ago, over ending slavery. It wasn't like it was some debate that just started with the North versus the South. Look it up, there were anti-slavery riots burning major cities in Europe over the African slave trade, ladies and gentlemen. Because they had just gone through it there. They estimate that millions of Christians died in different religious wars, with Catholics killing Protestants and Protestants killing Catholics. Just went on and on and on. And wars in the Netherlands and 5 or 6 giant wars in England and huge wars in France. See, there's all this real history. And I'm not lessening slavery here. It's terrible. The point is, it's like it's the only human experience they teach when it's perpetual. It's the same story over and over again. And now we're going into slavery to the New World Order. They're poisoning our food, poisoning our water, destroying our dollar, going after our families, deindustrializing us, and teaching people the oppression is peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, that oppression is brown bags, that oppression is saying mother and father. That's hurtful to gays. This is total cultural overwrite with a plastic, fake, globalist culture that wants you to be one thing. Absolutely alone with no community, but also not an individual, because then you see the television as your friends and the plastic culture as your fake community. They have to destroy real community and real communitarianism to then bring in a false communitarianism. They have to destroy true sustainability, being able to take care of yourself, and bring in a false sustainability that actually makes your life unsustainable and has a lot of trappings that sound reasonable. It's so sophisticated how they do this.